Hello students. So welcome to the risk management session of the Nctech, that is for December 2023 Strategic Business Leader. Now students, I just want to give you a very important exam note. For the past SBL examination, risk management is a compulsory area that every student needs to be aware about. But the issue is students, the main reason why students don't do well in this examination is they give the answers of pre-prepared answers without understanding the exhibit. Now students, this is very, very important, and I'll just mention a disclaimer as well. Now I am doing a risk management, but actually this will not come in the exam. This is just to make sure how you think in the examination, because thinking is very crucial in the examination. Now, disclaimer, always concentrate on the exhibit. Now, students, if you observe, even in the previous case study of Kojak, they have already given the risk in the industry. They would have mentioned industry challenges, but in the exam date, the risk what they gave was completely opposite or completely different from the pre-seen material that was given. So students, now I believe you have the complete idea of the pre-seen, but I will guide you on how you are going to score the marks. Now, if I am in the managerial position, now you see the first one is competitive threat. I believe this is very, very clear for this competitive threat. That means the competition in the market. So I'll write down here rivalry. And you are aware, students, that currently the biggest rivalry we have is the SAS, that is the software as a service and the platform as a service. Because students, these technologies are far better than the technology what we are offering in the market. Now, students, if you observe competitive threat, the first way the students think it's a macro issue because it's not within our control. It's an external factor that is affecting our business ecosystem. So in this case, students, anyone can come from the market. Now, a new entrant capturing existing Nctech market share, the impact is high. Correct, no students, impact is high because our revenue will drop. Correct, no students, financial impact, revenue will drop. Everyone is aware about, and market share also. Technology obsolescence, again students, impact is high. Correct, no students, the technology obsolescence impact is high because we are in a flux. That is very practical. Market pressure affecting the price. To be frank, yes. Emergence of new players, resulting in, observe the term here students, resulting in bargaining power of whom? Bargaining power of customers, because customers have more options at the moment. So initially understand that properly. So these are the impact and the likelihood, the probability of happening, technically speaking, very high. Because anyway they can come into the market. We don't have any international rules by the government for prevention. And remember one thing students, these are boundaryless organization. Understand the term very well. Boundaryless what students? Organization. Very, 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 very important. Now students, if you observe short-term actions, what can we do in the short term? That is today. Today actions what we can do. Now currently, if I'm not mistaken, do market research on the trend. That is one action what we can do. Understanding the needs of SME. Correct, no students, because if you see, our major customers are SME, so we have to understand their needs. And then students, invest in research and development. But you will not get the results immediately, but you can immediately invest in research and development. Ask for universities in Farland to provide any funding requirements for their projects. Now students, this is one technique that we can do. We can increase our relationship with them. Can you remember students, related and supported industry? Now, students, if you observe related and supported industry, you would have effectively studied in Porter's diamond theory. Correct, no, students? But diamond theory won't come in the examination, but just understand it. Diamond can effectively be a applied knowledge there. So related and supported industry. Now, in this case, students, universities, the graduates are a related party for our business. Because if they have a lot of knowledge in the cloud computing, how the technologies work, it will effectively help our business to do very well in the market. And then students, medium term action. So whenever you are doing a risk assessment, make sure you do a short term, medium term and long term. But even if you can't do it also, that's fine. But make the answer more relevant to the question rather than going with the pre-seen knowledge or rather than going with a technical model like Tara matrix in the examination. It may not work out. So medium term action, students, if I'm not mistaken, in the medium term, students, I'll write down here, in the medium term, the company needs to make sure there is some alternatives and developments matching the existing technologies. Because in simple language, students, what I can effectively say is at least we have to go for platform as a service, because students, consumers are moving with the new services, so we have to ensure we go with platform as a service as well. So I believe this is also giving you a better clarity at the moment, students, and this is very, very important that you are able to understand the detailed understanding and application as well. Now, students, long-term action, or I can say here, one medium-term action is tie up, or I can say partner, tie up or partner with a new cloud company with SaaS services. So this can be one option. And students, just remember this can come in the exam as well, an appraisal situation of tying up with an organization or diversifying to another sector. So long-term action, if I'm not mistaken, make sure that the company has an R&D, research and development. Students, at the moment, we don't have any research and development because of our founders. Research and development. Because students, our founders only are running the company, so they are little bit tech knowledge people. So they may not invested on research and development, but it's very important. And also say talent management. Because can you remember, students, one of the reason we are having a flux is talent management is essential in the long run, in the long run, in the long run, in the long run. And students, one more thing I can effectively say is university collaboration. So I'll write down here university collaboration, university collaborations. These are very, 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 very important factors. So students, now if you observe, the beauty of the risk topic is it has all these practical aspect, and internal controls are the systems you can design for the threats due to macro factors. So what I can effectively say is develop a business forum for Nctech, because we don't have a forum, no, students, where the employees can relate the current trend in the market, And one more thing I can say is for R&D, for research and development, there can be better KPIs, like the number of research success and attempts, because that is very, very, very important. So students, this is how in your examination your thinking aspect must be there. Now the next principal risk in this case is staffing issue. So students, I'm going to write down here, students, staffing issue. So if you don't mind, we can work on that. So I'll write down here, students, staffing issues, staffing issues. Ready, students? Shall we work on this? Yeah. Loss of key personnel. Now, technically speaking, our board is not the key personnel because 30% founders are there. Bypassing internal procedures and controls, that is one thing. The approvals, if I'm not mistaken, is taking time. Once again, there is corporate governance factors. Regulatory breaches, students, can you remember we have security breaches this time? Unethical behavior and decision making affecting a business operation. That means data selling the data, it is unethical. Revealing transparent data is unethical. And employees misusing the data. For example, employees are sharing confidential information to their family members. All those things are very, very challenging and practical for the organization. So in this case, students, staffing issue. Develop internal protocols with regards to internal protocol means systems, internal protocol with regards to staff behavior, because we don't have that at the moment, students, as per the pre-scene. And since we are growing and we are in a high sensitive environment, it is important. Also make sure there is a PRP system, performance rate reward system, because it's very, very important. And then, students, if I'm not mistaken, provide guidance on managing work, because mentoring is not there. In the short term we can do. Also make sure we have fresh graduates from universities. Students, there is high chances of helping a university in the examination, like charity projects, something like that. Because students, understand it very well, university graduates play a critical role because they are fresh mind to the examiners or the company, because universities internships, because there are chances that we have to have internships, get ideas from the young people, and make sure we are doing very, very well also. And then, students, these bypassing internal control, all these things, protocols will help us. Unethical behavior, students, explain the consequences of data breach. Explain the consequences. Example, you may be imprisoned also. Consequences of data breach. So students, understand that application very, 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 very well. And now, students, if I'm not mistaken, short term, these are the impact and likelihood. So I'll just want to just share, that was the short term one. Just a minute. I'll just paste it here. Now, students, just want to give you an idea. These staffing issues, what is the impact? Now, impact is moderate at the moment because we have the founders who are the knowledge powerhouses for our business. But in case if they retire, what is the succession plan? That is the question. What is the succession plan? That is one question that we have to keep in mind, that you have to think also, students. And there are governance situations where they are asked to change cultural web, so many SFA, so many factors to be considered. And then, students, if you see, regulatory breaches are there, unethical behaviors are also there. So in that case, we have to understand these are moderate, but regulatory breaches sometimes can be high based on the sensitivity. Example, like security information, government data is leaked. That will be a big issue. So at the moment we are SME, but certain times, like hospital may be a small medium entity, but in that case we have to be very, very careful also. Now, students, in the medium term, what we have to do is make sure that we collect feedbacks from employees. Because it is very, very, very important. And also make sure that they are satisfied with more recognition than rewards. Because, students, if you observe, rewards is an important part, but the labor turnover is very high. The rationale behind that may be they're not getting the recognition. And then students, give them the pathway, give them the pathway to have a better growth prospect, get a growth prospect. And that is one thing. And now students, the long term ESOP options. So I'll write ESOP schemes. ESOP schemes can be provided because students, they can end up as the shareholders. ESOP schemes can be provided. They can be promoted. They can be promoted as a CEO, promoted to CEO level, promoted to CEO level based on their skill set and loyalty, understand it very well. Now the internal controls what we can have is have a HR plan, and then students conduct training, review systems, conduct training, and then students, I can say review systems. We have to make sure reviews are there on based on the employees, transparency on the performance appraisal. All these things are just my point of view, students. But in the exam day, your mind should work in this stability. So that is one more factor to be considered. And then students, the next risk what we are seeing here is a technological issue. What is that, students? Technology issues. Now again, students, you know the case study very well. Anyway, we are having that issue. Can I write down here? Impact is high. Impact is high since the SME clients already have other options, already have other better options. Understand it clearly. Now, lack of internet availability. Now, students, this internet, I'll write down, internet is a general issue for all players. So in this case, in the short run, what we can effectively do is ask the industry to support telecommunication providers, because we have to have an orchestration. We have to talk to them and telecommunication providers, and also students, government support is needed. So can I write down here one more thing? Government support is also needed effectively. Support is needed. Next one, students, in the medium term, increase the network stability. That is one more thing. And the next one is move to satellite technologies instead of with the forces of having the towers. We can go to satellite technology. That is one more thing. But students, remember the downside of that: environmental issues, like birds will get affected due to radiation. Environmental issues, birds getting affected. Now integrated reports all can come. Birds getting affected due to radiation. Due to what, students? Due to radiation. Can I write that down, students? Due to radiation factors. Now the next thing, students, virus contamination. Students, again, high risk. Virus is high risk. So I'll write down virus is high risk. And how we can do it? A firewall. Students, can I say here outsourcing cybersecurity? Students, this can come in the exam. Outsourcing issues, outsourcing cybersecurity, this can come in the examination. Just keep that in mind. Outsourcing cybersecurity can be one more factor to be considered. And then students, in the medium term, update the system. Medium term, update the system, because system updates are very important. And in the long term, students, there can be better developments as well. Rather than only going for updates, we can go for something like a revolutionary change also possible. Revolutionary change is possible. Now, students, coming to the internal controls, the systems, what we can do in order. System reviews. Again, system review is important. And then, students, internet speed test at the initiation stages of clients. We have to tell them, in your premises, these are the areas you have to keep your data so that the speed will be done. It is again practical, students. And after that, students, we have data security. Now, students, again, don't memorize anything of this. Unauthorized access to clients. And then students, data breach or loss, distributed denial attacks, excessive activity on the string. Okay, so I'll write down a high risk because all these are high risk. And in the short term, students, increase two-factor authentication. Can you remember, students? We have two-factor authentication. That is one more thing, authentication. Then students, we have biometric. Can you remember that, students? Biometric is there. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, face recognition can be there. If I'm not mistaken, face recognition is there. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, access control, you can only give access to certain individuals if I'm not mistaken. And in the long run, students, medium term, what we can do is make new updates as well. And students, if I'm not mistaken, I can say blockchain, because blockchain technology, students, is very important so that it will be greater. And in the long term, make sure reputation is built, because reputation is important for the organization. And the internal controls, what we can effectively have is, students, again, system reviews. Again, don't write system reviews for every questions, but it will have exhibit factors which you can utilize that. And the next one, students, is regulatory changes. Regulatory what, students? Changes. Now, if you see regulatory changes, macro, government will come into the picture. High level chances this can happen, students. Depends on the rules. But to be in prudence, I can always say high risk. Students, one thing, lobbying is there. Students, we can effectively lobby. Lobbying is legal, students. Lobbying is there. And then, students, formation of a union, formation of a cartel or a syndicate between the 10 players. Can you remember, students? There are 10 players only in the market. So we can form a syndication and we can make it stronger. And in the medium term, review political decisions. And students, just to give you an idea, this can come in the exam called Cambridge Analytica, students. It is there in your syllabus also. Cambridge Analytica, how the American election took place. So just keep in mind, students, Cambridge Analytica. Data ethics can come. Just keep that in mind. And the final thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, just to make your understanding even clearer and easier, is I can effectively say long term, make sure the government is always satisfied. Can you remember, students, Mendelov matrix? The government is a high power satisfier, so you have to keep them satisfied. Internal control, review all the updates of government policies. That is one more thing. Professional competence is very, 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 very important, students. So students, now the main objective of this session was to give you the understanding of how to think. The biggest problem students are facing in today's term is they are writing risk management without a proper organized form. Now, I believe you are able to observe this very clearly, students. It is very much structured, organized, so that the students will be able to think practically, students. I'm not being very different, but I'm just making sure that the students are effectively able to think practically. And also, students, just to make your life very simple and easy to understand, don't waste your time thinking too much on the factors which you can't control. Always focus on the things you can control. Make sure you go through the ACCA videos that is published in the ACCA resource channels. It's very, very good, students. And also make sure you go through the cogent answers of Read the Mind of the Examiner, because I just want to give you a quick recap. Here you gave something called the exam technique. You click on this, students, no need to log in also. You have the Read the Mind of the cogent. The cogent answer is already published, students. And in this you are able to see the answer of a good student and a bad student. They have already marked and showed it to you all. So if you can go through this document, you will pass the examination because you know where you are scoring. The feedbacks are given on each and every sentence the students have written. So I just want to give you this update as well. So thank you very much, students. I will meet you soon with another video. Thank you.